everyone! In this video we are going to be working on Erza's swords. So you're going to start with a piece of foam insulation board, and at the top corner you're going to measure 3.5 inches across. At the bottom you're going to measure 4.5 inches across, since Erza's sword is basically tapered. Then what you're going to do is get yourself a straight line, something you can use to make a line from point to point, and you're going to take a pen and just draw right along. Grab yourself a box cutter or a foam cutter, whatever you may have. If you do use a foam burner or a foam cutter, make sure you are in a well-ventilated area because it does make some toxic fumes. But for this, I just use a nice sharp box cutter, and 1 or 2 passes along and it'll go right through. Just be careful if you're cutting on your carpet that you're not cutting completely through and not slicing through your carpet. Alright, so take one of those spare corner pieces and we're going to trace the template of the wings that go along the base of the sword. Now, these are a little tricky to cut out, it took me a while, but just be patient, just make pass along that outline with your box cutter and you're good to go. With these little corner pieces, you do kind of have to finagle them along, but with a couple slices, you're typically able to get through without any problems. So you're going to go through and continue to slice out your pattern. Once that's all done, you're going to take a sanding plane or a box sander, whatever you might have, and file until you get a nice sword shape. This insulation foam sands really nicely. But what you do need to do is seal it. So whether you're using Mod Podge or wood glue or gesso, whatever you choose to seal, you're gonna have to seal because you cannot paint this stuff without sealing it, otherwise it'll just completely melt on you. So I did like 3 or 4 coats of Mod Podge, and I'm moving on to the handle. I just took a piece of PVC piping and I found this really cheap blue fabric that was in the clearance bin at the Hobby Lobby. So I'm just going to cut out a strip of this, and then we're going to take that strip and wrap it around the handle. Now, I just use a little bit of hot glue gun to hold this in place because since it's in my hand, I don't want it slipping and sliding. But you're going to start at the bottom, fold it over, and then just continue to wrap it around. Alright, so like I said, this is nice and glued in place. Now, I also found at the craft store some silver twine. If you look at the picture, it does have some lacing that goes up the handle. So you're just going to do that, keep it nice and tight, and wrap it around the handle as you work your way down. Once you've gotten to the bottom, you're going to make sure you give yourself a nice tight knot. And then what I also did, just for a little bit extra security, was put a little dab of hot glue at the crisscross of all of the twine as we head down the handle. Alright, so this is where we're going to go ahead and knot it. Just make a nice tight knot at the end there. This is going to be all covered, so you don't have to actually worry about the end of it, how it looks. Trim your excess and just tuck it up inside. Alright, so what I did with the feathers was, these have already been primed and painted, and we're using some foam core to add some more details. Now, in order to get the pommel of the sword correct, I used some expanding foam, and this actually worked because I used a wooden dowel to, you saw in that last little clip, a wooden dowel to run through the sword and the feathers there. And the insulation foam actually held the dowel in place inside the handle. So we're going to just go ahead and carve this insulation foam with our same box cutter till it gets to be the shape that we want. Now it's nice and dense, so it's easy to carve. We're just going to go ahead and get the shape that we're looking for. Just keep whittling away at that. Once you've got it closer to a general shape, we're going to move to sandpaper. Alright, so you're just going to use the sandpaper to file it down to a shape that you're looking for. Next, we're going to use a screwdriver. It's a Phillips head screwdriver just to hollow out a little space inside the sword here, because that's where our wooden dowel is going to feed into. We're just going to go ahead and fill it up with hot glue and then poke our wooden dowel right through. Now, the longer you can get the dowel inside the sword, the sturdier it's going to be. This insulation foam is really awesome for working, but it can break easily, so you just want to be careful and try to give yourself as much stability as possible. Alright, so I pre-cut and painted these little foam accessories, and we're just going to go ahead and hot glue those down the sword. Now Erza does have 2 of these swords, so you'll have to go through and do this twice. You can see the other sword that I've already completed up in the top corner there. Couple more pieces to add on, and then we're going to move on to painting. Once you've got all those foam pieces applied, you are going to flip the sword over and do the exact same thing on the other side. Alright, now we're going to add some detail and some shading. I'm just using just a light gray here, just to add some shadows and some definition around the edge of the wing parts on the handle. Okay, so now we're going to take some Worbla. I have a pattern here that I used for the other pommel, but you're going to cut out a piece of Worbla, heat it up, and this is what we're going to use to cover the expanding foam that we used to shape the pommel of the sword. So once that's nice and heated up, you're going to go ahead and wrap it around the end. Just work with it, get it nice and sealed and as smooth as you possibly can. The little edge of it had a little bit of excess Worbla, so I just went ahead and I took some scissors and trimmed that bit off. Alright, and once the shape is to my liking, I'm going to take some more Mod Podge and give that a nice coat so that way it's nice and smooth and shiny. I wound up doing 3 coats of Mod Podge here just to make sure that it was nice and smooth and there were no lumps and bumps. Now, in order to cover up the lacing in the bottom of the pommel, I have this 2-way stretch metallic silver like spandex style material. I use this for a couple things with my costume, but it actually works really handy to wrap around the edge of the panel because it kind of looks like leather a little bit. Alright, so we're going to take a nice blue, just paint the end of the sword there. Once that's dry, I'm going to take that wrapping and wrap it around the pommel, hot glue it into place, and that's basically it. This was the first time I've ever made a prop sword. I'm pretty pleased, but you know, just take your time, work with it, be patient, and you'll have a great product in the end. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye, everyone!